The first sign was the way she said his name like it didn't mean anything. We were getting ready for dinner. Not just any dinner. Our dinner. The kind of night you plan all week when life has been heavy and you want one evening that feels like you again. Candles. Music low in the background. Something warm in the oven. Her in a dress she knew I liked. Me pretending I wasn't tired because I wanted to show up. I thought we were in a good place. Not perfect, but stable. We'd been together long enough that we didn't need fireworks every day. We needed consistency. We needed comfort. We needed that feeling that when the world is loud, home is quiet. That's what I thought we had. I came home early that day with a bottle of wine and one of those small desserts she always ordered but never made herself. I even stopped at the florist on the corner and bought flowers that were slightly overpriced and slightly unnecessary. I didn't care. I wanted to make her smile. When I walked in, she looked surprised, then happy, then quickly normal again. She kissed me, took the flowers, and placed them in water like she was checking a box. I told myself I was overthinking. People get used to good things. That's not always a bad sign. She disappeared into the bedroom to change while I set the table. I lit the candles. I put on the playlist we always used for nights like this. I felt this quiet pride in the life we were building. The kind of pride that makes you believe you're doing it right. Then her phone buzzed on the counter. I wasn't trying to look. I didn't even move toward it. I just glanced the way anyone glances when a screen lights up in a dim room. And I saw the name. Tyler. Her ex. My stomach tightened, but I didn't touch the phone. I didn't pick it up. I just watched it buzz again. Another message. Then another. In the bedroom, I heard her laughing softly. Not at me. Not with me. At something on her phone. That laugh didn't sound like a joke she wanted to share. It sounded private. She came out of the bedroom still holding the phone, still smiling, and she didn't notice my expression at first. She was humming, adjusting her earrings, acting like tonight was going exactly as planned. Then she looked up and saw me standing there. Her smile faltered for half a second, then returned with extra effort. "What?" she asked, like I was the one who broke something. I nodded toward the phone. "You're talking to him." Her shoulders lifted in a casual shrug. "Yeah, it's nothing. Nothing." That word has a way of turning into a weapon when people use it too quickly. I tried to keep my voice calm. "Why is he texting you right now?" She waved a hand like she was brushing away smoke. "He saw my story, the one you posted. He just said it looks nice." I stared at her. "So you're laughing with your ex while we're getting ready for our dinner?" Her eyes narrowed like my question annoyed her. "You're making it weird." That was the first moment I felt the shift. Not because she was texting him, but because her instinct wasn't to reassure me. It was to correct me. Like my discomfort was the problem, not her behavior. I took a breath. "Okay," I said. "I'm not trying to fight. I just don't love the timing." She rolled her eyes. "You always do this when I talk to anyone from my past." I almost laughed because it wasn't true. I wasn't the jealous guy. I wasn't the controlling guy. I wasn't the man who checks phones and monitors friendships. I was the man who trusts until trust becomes stupid. We sat down to eat. The food tasted good, but I barely registered it. I kept noticing her phone, face up on the table near her plate, like she was waiting for it to light up again. Every time it buzzed, her eyes flicked down too fast. I tried to focus on the conversation. Work. Plans. Random things. But there was a tension in the air, like a thin wire pulled tight across the room. Halfway through dinner, she said it. "So," she started, voice casual, like she was asking if we needed more paper towels. "Tyler might stop by." I froze with my fork halfway to my mouth. "Stop by. Tonight. Her ex." I put my fork down slowly. "Why?" She shrugged again. "He has something of mine. A hoodie, and he's already nearby." I stared at her, trying to make my brain accept what she was saying. "You want him to come here. Right now, during our dinner." Her expression turned impatient. It's not a big deal. He's just dropping something off. It was the way she said it. Like this was the most normal thing in the world. Like I should be grateful she wasn't asking my permission. I felt heat rise in my chest. Can't he drop it off another day? She sighed dramatically, like I was exhausting. Why does it matter? It's a hoodie. It wasn't the hoodie. It was her choice. She didn't ask. She informed. She didn't consider my feelings. She assumed I would adapt. She didn't protect our night. She traded it for convenience. I looked around at the table. The candles, the wine, the food I helped make, the flowers sitting in a vase, the effort. It suddenly felt like a set, like props. Like we were playing house while the real connection she wanted was vibrating on her phone. I didn't want to explode. I didn't want to make a scene. I wanted to understand who I was sitting across from. So I asked quietly, "Do you want him here?" She blinked like the question surprised her. "What? Do you want him here?" "Tonight." Her eyes held mine for a second too long. Then she looked away. It's not about wanting. It's just practical. Practical. That word again. Before I could say anything else, there was a knock at the door. My heart sank. She didn't look surprised. That meant she was already expecting it. She must have told him to come. She stood up quickly. "I'll get it." I watched her walk to the door with a kind of ease that didn't fit the situation. Like this wasn't awkward for her. Like it was familiar. She opened the door and there he was. Tyler looked taller than I remembered from the photos she showed me early on in our relationship. He wore that relaxed confidence some men have when they know they're not being challenged. Like the world is theirs by default. His eyes flicked to me for a second, then back to her. "Hey," he said, smiling. She smiled back. Not the polite smile you give someone you're not close to. A real smile. A soft one. The kind you don't fake. He stepped inside without hesitation. No pause at the doorway. No awkward shuffle. He walked in like he'd been there 100 times. He held up a folded hoodie in one hand. "Here, yours." She took it and laughed. "You kept it all this time." He grinned. "It smelled like you." Hard to give up. Something inside me tightened so hard it almost went numb. He looked at me again, finally. "Sup, man?" I nodded. Hey, that was it. That was the introduction. That was my place in the moment. The man sitting at the table in the apartment I paid for, watching her ex act like he had more right to her attention than I did. She walked back toward the table and said something that made my stomach drop. "Do you want a plate?" "We have a lot." A plate. She offered him a plate like he was a friend dropping by, like he was family, like he was invited. Tyler laughed. "Are you serious?" She smiled. "Yeah. Sit. It's fine. It's fine." I stared at her. She didn't look at me. She didn't ask if it was fine. She decided it was fine. Tyler pulled out a chair like he belonged there and sat down. He glanced at the food like he was approving it. "Smells good," he said. She looked proud. "Thanks." I sat there in silence, feeling like my chest was filling with something heavy. Not rage, not jealousy, just this crushing awareness that I was being disrespected in slow motion. They started talking like I wasn't even there. Not fully ignoring me, but including me the way you include a stranger at a party. Little pauses, little polite glances. Then back to their shared history. They referenced places they used to go, friends they used to have. A trip they took years ago that she never told me about. The way they laughed together had a rhythm, a language. I smiled once just to prove I could, but it felt like my face was wearing someone else's expression. At one point, Tyler leaned back and looked around the apartment. "Nice place," he said. "You guys really settled in." The way he said you guys sounded like he was testing the phrase, like he didn't fully accept it. She nodded. "Yeah, it's been good." Then he asked her, casual, "You still keep that old photo box?" Her face flushed slightly. Maybe. I stared at her. Old photo box. I didn't know about an old photo box. He smirked like he knew exactly what he was doing. I bet you do. She shook her head like she was scolding him, but her smile didn't fade. Stop. He laughed, low and comfortable. I'm just saying, I felt something shift in me. Something that had been holding on finally loosening its grip. Because this wasn't accidental. This wasn't him dropping off a hoodie. This was him stepping back into her space with ease, and her opening the door wider. I reached for my wine and took a slow sip, buying time. Then Tyler turned to me and asked a question like he was being friendly. So, how long have you two been together? I answered. Almost 2 years. He nodded, thoughtful. Wow, time flies. Then he looked at her, not me. You were never good at staying put. She smiled softly, like the comment was affectionate. I watched her smile and realized I wasn't watching a conversation. I was watching a reunion. And I was the obstacle sitting between them. Her phone buzzed again, and Tyler glanced at it like he had the right. She looked down and smiled, typing quickly. I didn't need to see the screen to know who it was. The energy in the room had changed completely. Our dinner had turned into their night, and I was just the guy who provided the table. I finally set my wine down and said, "Calm. Can I talk to you for a second?" She looked at me like I was interrupting something important. Now. Yes. She hesitated, then stood up. Tyler kept sitting there like he owned the moment. We stepped into the kitchen, and I kept my voice low. Why is he still here? She frowned. Because he's eating. Relax, relax. I stared at her, feeling my patience thin. You invited him to our dinner. She shook her head. He showed up. I didn't invite him. I stared harder. You literally offered him a plate. Her eyes flashed. So what? You wanted me to be rude. You wanted me to embarrass him. I laughed once, dry. You're worried about embarrassing him. Not me. She crossed her arms. You're being dramatic. Dramatic. That word again. I didn't raise my voice. I just said the truth as calmly as I could. You turned our dinner into a night with your ex, and you didn't even ask me. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Then she tried to soften her tone. He's just here for a bit. After he leaves, we'll have our night. Our night. Like it was something we could pause and resume after she entertained him. I looked at her, and I felt something settle in my chest. This wasn't about one dinner. This was about how easily she made room for him, how quickly she expected me to shrink, how naturally she defended him, protected him, prioritized his comfort. I nodded slowly. Okay, I said. Her shoulders loosened like she thought she won. Good. I walked past her and back into the dining room. Tyler looked up from his plate. Everything good? I smiled, polite. Yeah. Then I reached for my jacket hanging over the chair. She looked up, confused. What are you doing? I put the jacket on calmly. I'm leaving. Her eyes widened. What? Why? I didn't look at Tyler. I looked at her. Because I'm not going to sit here while you play happy couple with your ex in front of me. Her face tightened. That's not what this is. I nodded once. That's exactly what this is. Tyler leaned back, watching like this was entertainment, like he'd seen this movie before. She stepped toward me. Don't do this right now. Please. I kept my voice steady. You already did this. You just didn't expect me to react. Her eyes filled with tears quickly, but her voice got sharp again. So you're just going to walk out? Over a hoodie? I looked at her. No, over you choosing him over me, in my own home. She opened her mouth to argue again, but no words came out, because there was nothing she could say that made this look acceptable. I walked to the door, and she followed, begging now, voice cracking. Please, he's leaving. I'll tell him to go. Just stay. That line almost made me laugh. She was finally willing to tell him to go, but only after I stood up to leave. Only when consequences showed up, not when respect was needed. I opened the door and turned back one last time. If you wanted him gone, he wouldn't be here, I said. If you respected me, you wouldn't have offered him a plate. If you cared about us, you would have protected tonight. She sobbed, shaking her head. You're twisting this. No, I said calmly. I'm finally seeing it clearly. Then I stepped out and shut the door behind me. I walked down the hallway without rushing. No dramatic stomp, no slam, no last words. Just quiet steps away from something that stopped feeling like love. I got in my car and sat there for a minute with my hands on the steering wheel, staring at nothing. My chest hurt, but my mind felt strangely clear. It hit me then that I'd been trying to be the mature one for too long. The calm one. The understanding one. The man who doesn't mind the past because he believes he's the future. But you can't be someone's future if they keep feeding their past. She called me less than 5 minutes later. I didn't answer. She texted. I didn't reply. A few minutes after that, another message came through. He left. Please come back, please. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I typed one sentence. You didn't need him to leave. You needed me to leave to realize you crossed the line. Then I blocked her. I drove to my brother's place that night, and when he opened the door and saw my face, he didn't ask questions. He just stepped aside and let me in. I slept on his couch with my shoes still on, because my body didn't trust the world enough to fully relax. The next morning, she tried again from a different number. I'm sorry, I didn't think. I just didn't want it to be awkward. I didn't want you to think I still care. That was the part that made my jaw tighten. She didn't want me to think she still cared, so she invited him to our dinner. She didn't want me to think she still cared, so she laughed with him and smiled and offered him a plate. She didn't want me to think she still cared, so she made me feel like the intruder. I didn't respond. 2 days later, I went back for my things while she was at work. Not because I wanted revenge, not because I wanted to punish her. I just wanted to end it cleanly. No more conversation, no more twisting, no more blame shifting. I packed quietly. Clothes, books, my toothbrush. A few things I didn't want to leave behind because they were mine, and I refused to lose more than I already had. In the bedroom closet, I found something that made me stop. A hoodie. The hoodie. The one Tyler dropped off. It was hanging on her side of the closet, not folded away, not tossed in a drawer, but hung like it mattered, like it was something she wanted close. I stared at it for a long time. Then I took it off the hanger and placed it neatly on her pillow. A small gesture, not revenge, just truth. This is what you chose. When she came home and saw my boxes gone, she called again. She left a voicemail this time. Her voice was softer, sadder, less defensive. I didn't mean for it to happen like this. I didn't realize it would hurt you that much. I listened to the voicemail twice, not because I wanted to suffer, because I wanted to remember how easy it is for people to call something an accident when it was a choice. She didn't realize it would hurt me that much. That meant she knew it would hurt me. She just thought I would tolerate it. That night, I sat on my brother's couch and thought about all the little moments that led to that dinner. All the times she mentioned Tyler casually. All the times she said he was just someone from her past. All the times I chose to be the secure boyfriend instead of the man who demanded respect. I realized I wasn't secure. I was compliant. And there's a difference. Secure is trusting someone who proves they're trustworthy. Compliant is accepting disrespect and calling it maturity. A week later, I saw a photo on a mutual friend's story. They were at a bar. She was smiling. Tyler was next to her. No hoodie, no dinner plate, just comfort. just history reclaiming space. I didn't feel jealous. I felt relieved, because it confirmed what my gut already knew that night. She didn't invite him to our dinner because it was convenient. She invited him because she wanted him close again. And I didn't lose anything real when I left. I lost a woman who could look me in the eyes while giving my seat at the table to someone else. And I gained something I hadn't felt in a long time: self-respect. I thought love was about being patient, being understanding, being calm. But I learned something better. Love is also about boundaries. Love is also about choosing someone when you have other options. Love is also about protecting the relationship when no one is watching. She didn't protect us. She protected the comfort of her ex. So I walked out of my own dinner. And I didn't look back.